What does FBI have to do with winter sports? On January 6, 1994, American figure skater and reigning national champion Nancy Kerrigan was attacked. The attack occurred one day before she was set to compete in the U.S. Figure Skating Championships, a competition that would determine who represents the United States in the 1994 Winter Olympics in Lillehammer. Walking toward the locker room after a practice session at Cobo Arena in Detroit, Kerrigan was accosted by a man who hit her near her right knee with a metal baton. The attacker fled, leaving Kerrigan screaming on the ground, "Why? Why me?" Good question. Let's take a step back. Nancy Kerrigan, Tonya Harding. Two skaters, same Olympic dream, very different profiles. Kerrigan was polished, marketable, the classic American sweetheart. Harding was powerful, raw, immensely talented, but often portrayed as the outsider. During practice right before the Olympics, a man approached Kerrigan and struck her knee with a metal baton. Everyone was shocked. Kerrigan collapsed in excruciating pain, crying, "Why? Why me?" The footage is still chilling. FBI got involved. After investigations, the attack turned out to be orchestrated by Harding's ex-husband and associates. The dark intention was brutally simple: to remove the main competitor from the Olympics. The media coverage was wide. Every detail became a public spectacle. At first, Tonya Harding denied any knowledge of the attack, but ultimately pleaded guilty in March 1994. Suddenly, Olympics wasn't about sports. It was about conspiracy and violence. And figure skating, a sport built on elegance, turned into something dark beneath the elegant surface. Her associates were imprisoned. Harding was banned from the sport for life. To this day, many dark questions stay unanswered. Was their rivalry just athletic, or was it also about social class-based and personal? Most rivalries end with applause. This one ended in courtrooms, with resentment and dark intentions, and end of a career. But wait, could Nancy Kerrigan go back to skiing again? Yes, she was able to return to competitive figure skating shortly after being attacked in 1994 and continued to skate professionally for years afterward. Although the attack was intended to break her leg, it resulted only in severe bruising and swelling on her thigh and knee rather than a broken bone. The Herminator crash, the fall year, 1998, Nagano Winter Olympics. Downhill skiing, a sport designed to push the limits. Athlete Hermann Maier was built for downhill skiing, aggressive stance, relentless speed. He quickly got the nickname Herminator, describing his ruthless style. While downhill skiing, athletes reach speeds over 70 miles per hour while navigating gates placed with surgical precision. Miss one line and the mountain punishes you. Maier hit a bump wrong. He lost control and launched. But instead of landing smoothly, he was thrown sideways and his body twisted in air before slamming into safety net at full speed. The scene of impact was sickening to watch. Commentators lost words. Spectators froze at the violent scene. For a long moment, that landing looked terminal. He lay still. Everyone thought he had died. Then, slowly, he moved. Yes, he could stand up. His survival was a miracle. This was a traumatic crash that could have ended his career. But instead of withdrawing, Maier returned a few days later and won 2 gold medals. Nodar Kumaritashvili. When speed met steel. This is the terrifying story of an Olympic accident networks did not want you to see. At the 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver, celebrations were just beginning. The track at Whistler was all people were talking about. Fastest track ever constructed. Engineers were proud of it. Broadcasters hyped it. All athletes were talking about it. It was a masterpiece of ice engineering. Steeper slopes, sharper curves, longer tracks. Nodar Kumaritashvili was only 21 years old when he stepped onto that ice. He came from Georgia, a country not known for winter dominance. Just qualifying for the Olympics was already extraordinary. He wasn't a favorite, but he was there to compete and represent his nation. On a training run, he lost control exiting the final turn at curve 16. Athletes later described that section as brutally designed. A slight instability at 90 miles per hour that was unforgiving. He lost control of his sled. He launched off the track. He slammed into an exposed steel pillar. The footage was played once, then networks stopped showing it. Replays were forbidden. No padding, no high safety barrier, just speed meeting raw metal. He died before the games officially began, and immediately the tone shifted from celebration to damage control at the event. Officials said it was his error, emphasizing his relative inexperience. They reassured the world that the track met safety standards. But the athletes had already been talking. During prior runs, several had struggled. Some had crashed badly. Some described the track as intimidating, even excessive. After all the backlash, safety measures were adjusted, the starting position was lowered to reduce speed, the walls were modified, all very quietly. The speed skiing tragedy. How does heavy machinery end up in an active training slope used by athletes skiing at extreme speeds? Skiing 140 miles per hour. Anything unexpected can throw speed skiers off. They don't have time to react. Death awaits with no mercy. Nicolas Bochatai met death on a training slope. Nicolas Bochatai had just done what most elite athletes only dream of. It was 1992, Albertville, France. He had pushed the limits of the sport, racing down the icy slope at over 140 miles per hour. For a moment, he stood among the world's fastest skiers, competing on the Olympic stage as speed skiing made its most glamorous appearance. But speed skiing is unforgiving. Its defiance against gravity and aerodynamic. Sometimes skill alone does not suffice to save athletes. Simple physics rules decide who lives and who dies. Bochatai thrived in that chaos. Then, one day during a training run on the same mountain, something unexpected happened. He collided with a snow grooming vehicle, and he died horribly at the spot. Not during competition, not during a risky maneuver, he hit the maintenance equipment. This was deeply unsettling. He survived the Olympic descent, the part designed to test the limits of speed, only to die in what should have been routine preparation. Training is supposed to be controlled, managed, coordinated. How and why did a snow machine cross the path of athletes training at that time? And that's what makes this story darker than a typical sports tragedy. It wasn't a misjudged turn. It wasn't an athlete being overconfident in the moment. It was a dark moment in the history of the sport. Subscribe to get more dark stories like this every week.